Hi, this is Ajay Anand and welcome to science classes from excelup.com. In this lesson, you will be learning about combustion. You will learn about factors of combustion, ignition temperature, types of combustion, fire control. Then you will learn about fuel and efficiency of fuel and about harms of burning of fuel. What is combustion? Combustion is a chemical process in which a substance reacts with oxygen to give heat. So when anything burns, it reacts with oxygen, and burning is the process which produces heat. So in common language we call it burning, and in scientific terminology we call it combustion. There are three important factors for combustion. They are: number one is combustible substance, number two is oxygen, and number three is ignition temperature. So you need to have a substance which can be burnt. Then we need to have oxygen to burn that substance, because in the absence of oxygen, combustion cannot take place. Then there is ignition temperature. This is the minimum temperature required to start burning a matter. So different substances, they have their own different ignition temperatures. Let us try to understand these in detail. A substance which can be burnt or which can undergo combustion is called combustible substance. For example, candle, coal, petrol, wood, paper, etc. If a substance cannot undergo combustion, this is called a non-combustible substance. For example, stone, asbestos, iron, sand. Out of these combustible substances, there are certain substances which burn easily or which rapidly catch fire. Such substances, they are called inflammable substances. For example, perfume, petrol, alcohol. These are highly inflammable substances. You may have observed the symbol of fire hazard on a pack of perfume, and the use of mobile phone or matchstick is prohibited at petrol pumps to ensure to prevent any accidental fire. Oxygen. Oxygen is necessary for combustion. To understand this, let us do an experiment. Take a glass jar which is open from both ends. Take two small blocks of wood and place the glass jar atop the wooden blocks as shown in this figure. Now burn a candle inside this jar. So you will notice that the candle continues to burn. Now remove these wooden blocks as shown in this figure. Then you will observe that candle burns for a few seconds, then the flame goes off. In the third case, cover the top opening of the jar with another block. Okay, so in this case the candle does not burn even for a few seconds. Let us try to understand why does this happen. In this case, there is a sort of cross ventilation. So the air which is the oxygen which is utilized over here, it turns into carbon dioxide, and the warm air escapes from this end, and from this end fresh air enters, which gives continuous supply of oxygen for combustion, and that is why this candle continues to burn. In this case, what happens after some time, whatever oxygen is there, it gets utilized and there is no fresh supply of oxygen, and that is why after burning for some time the candle extinguishes. In this case, within a few seconds there is nothing, so there is no oxygen to allow combustion, and that is why candle does not burn even for a few seconds. So this experiment shows the necessity of oxygen for combustion. Ignition temperature. Some substances they have low ignition temperature. For example, alcohol, petrol and kerosene. So that is why they burn with ease. You just need to use a matchstick to put fire in these substances. But when you will try to burn a block of wood or a piece of coal, a single matchstick will not be sufficient. You may have to use bundle of paper or maybe some kerosene oil to ignite these substances, because these substances they have a higher ignition temperature. To understand this, you can do an experiment. Make a cup of paper, or you can use a disposable glass also of paper. Take some water in the paper cup and put it over a candle flame. You will observe that the paper cup does not start to burn, because whatever heat is supplied here, this heat gets utilized in increasing the temperature of water. Now take an empty paper cup and put it over the flame. It will immediately start burning, because whatever heat is supplied, now it is getting utilized in combustion of this paper. Okay, this figure shows a lady trying to burn her kitchen. The typical this is a typical traditional kitchen which uses firewood as fuel. So in this case, this lady has to blow air on firewood so that the firewood can catch fire, and this happens because of, once again, high ignition temperature of wood, and that is why one needs to supply enough oxygen or air so that fire can keep burning. Fire control. Fire is very useful for human beings, but uncontrolled fire can be highly dangerous. It can destroy lives and properties, and that is where the role of firefighter comes in. The firefighting is based on the principle of removing the factors of combustion. So you can recall that a combustible substance, oxygen and ignition temperature, they are the requirements for combustion to take place. So one needs to remove all of these factors, or add any of these factors or most of these factors, in order to douse fire. So let us take the example of a combustible substance or fuel. It is not possible to remove a combustible substance. Say for example, if a house is on fire, you cannot remove the house. Okay, so you need to cut off oxygen supply or need to lower down the temperature so that it comes below the ignition temperature. So water is the most often used fire extinguisher, and water lowers down the temperature. It lowers down the temperature of the burning substance below the ignition temperature, and that is how water helps in dousing the fire. But water has certain limitations. If there is a fire in electrical wiring or because of electrical appliances, one cannot use water, because normal water, it contains salt, and because of that, water is a conductor of electricity. So using water for dousing fire because of electricity wiring has the risk of electric shock for firefighters. Water cannot be used for fire because of oil, because oil is lighter than water. So when water is poured over oil, what will happen? The oil will come up and it will be at the top layer, and water will go down at the bottom layer. So the fire will continue to rage. In case of small fires, like a person's cloth catching fire or a cooking utensil catching fire, blanket is frequently used. One needs to cover the cooking utensil with blanket. So what does blanket do? Blanket makes a layer around the substance and it cuts off oxygen supply, and thus blanket helps in dousing the fire. Okay. Then carbon dioxide is the best fire extinguisher. Carbon dioxide is usually available in pressurized cylinders in liquid form. So when carbon dioxide is released from the cylinder, what happens? It is heavier than oxygen. So carbon dioxide goes to the bottom layer and oxygen comes at the top layer. Thus carbon dioxide cuts off oxygen supply to put out fire. Another effect of carbon dioxide is that when it is released from pressurized cylinder, it expands, and the rapid expansion lowers down the temperature of the burning substance. So carbon dioxide also helps in lowering down the temperature. Another method of getting carbon dioxide is by using soda acid fire extinguisher. The soda acid fire extinguisher, it contains sodium bicarbonate along with dilute sulfuric acid, and both are kept in separate containers. In case of fire, one needs to hit the nozzle of the fire extinguisher very hard on a hard surface. This breaks the container of acid, and what happens, the acid and soda, they mix together. This causes a chemical reaction which releases carbon dioxide gas through this nozzle, and thus carbon dioxide gas helps in putting out fire. Types of combustion. There are three types. Number one is rapid combustion, then spontaneous combustion, explosion. Combustion which take place rapidly, a substance, if it starts burning rapidly, then in that case the combustion is called rapid combustion. For example, the fire in petrol or gas, these are examples of rapid combustion. Spontaneous combustion, when fire starts without an apparent cause, it is called spontaneous combustion. So for example, in coal mines, the coal dust catches fire out of its own. So this is an example of spontaneous combustion. Sometimes forest fire also starts spontaneously, but in most of the cases forest fire starts because of negligence of human beings. Explosion is the combustion which is accompanied by evolution of large amount of heat, light and sound, and best example is the bursting of firecrackers. The fire begins, the firecracker bursts, it produces bang, loud sound, light and heat. Boom. Flame. Flame is the visible and gaseous part of fire. When vapor of a substance undergoes combustion, it produces flame. So if a substance is able to produce vapor, it will produce flame. Otherwise, if a substance is not able to produce vapor, it is not going to produce flame. And that is the reason when you are burning a candle, the candle produces flame because the wax, it produces vapor. But when you are burning a piece of coal, the coal does not produce flame because coal cannot produce vapor. Now let us try to understand the structure of flame. So this figure shows the flame of a candle. A flame has three zones, and these are called the outermost zone, middle zone and innermost zone. The outermost zone is transparent or light blue in color, and this is the zone of complete combustion, and because of complete combustion, this is the hottest zone in terms of temperature. The middle zone is of red orange color, and this is the zone of partial combustion, and that is why this zone is moderately hot. The innermost zone is dark in color, and this zone contains unburnt particles. In this case, unburnt wax vapors are here, and because of almost negligible combustion taking place in this zone has the least temperature. This is the least hot zone. You may be wondering what is the significance of studying this, the structure of flame. In fact, different zones have their own utilities. You will visit the shop of a goldsmith or a workshop of a goldsmith, you will find a person blowing air through flame and directing that flame to a small piece of gold or silver in order to melt that gold or silver. So what does the person do? He blows air in the outermost zone so that he can get the highest temperature to melt gold. So this is the use. In case of making carbon particles, say for example making kajal or coal, one needs to use this part of the flame, the innermost part of the flame. Fuel, any substance which can be burnt to produce energy is called fuel. So many substances can be burnt, but every burning substance cannot be used as fuel. So a good fuel needs to fulfill some criteria. And what are these criteria? It should be readily available. It should be cheap or economical to buy. It should burn easily in air, and it should burn at a moderate rate. So if a substance burns at a very fast rate, it is not practical to use that substance as a fuel, because we need to have control on fire also. So we cannot use petrol as kitchen fuel. We need to have control on the fire. Okay. The substance should produce a large amount of heat for given mass, and it does not leave behind undesirable substances. To understand this, you can take example of you can compare coal and LPG as fuel. You can ask your grandparents, because in their days coal was the main kitchen fuel, and nowadays LPG is mainly used as kitchen fuel in across all over the country. So the coal, it takes a huge space in any household. Then a large mass of coal is required for day-to-day use, and coal leaves behind ash, coal dust after it is burnt. That does not happen in case of LPG, because an LPG cylinder takes a very small amount in your kitchen, okay, and it does not produce smoke or any undesirable substance. And a cylinder of LPG generally lasts for around a month in a normal household. So that is why LPG has become more popular compared to other fuels for kitchen. Fuel efficiency. Fuel efficiency is measured in calorific value. This is defined as the amount of heat produced on combustion of 1 kg of fuel, and the unit of calorific value is kilojoule per kg or per kilogram. Here are some examples. The calorific value of wood is 17,000 to 22,000 kilojoule per kilogram. For coal, it is 25,000 to 33,000. For petrol, 45,000. For LPG, 55,000. So this shows that LPG is better than wood and coal in terms of producing energy for the given mass. And for hydrogen, it is a whopping 150,000 kilojoule per kilogram. Harms of burning of fuel. Burning of carbon fuel produces carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and unburnt carbon particles. Carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas, so that is dangerous. Carbon dioxide ends up polluting the air around us. If there is a higher percentage of carbon dioxide in atmosphere, it causes global warming, which is not desirable at all. Unburnt carbon particles in air they also cause air pollution, smog, and many people develop respiratory disorders because of suspended particles in air. Apart from these gases, burning of coal and diesel produces sulfur dioxide also, apart from carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. And burning of petrol produces oxides of nitrogen. When oxides of sulfur and nitrogen they mix with rain, it causes acid rain. Acid rain is dangerous for living beings, for plants and animals, and this is also dangerous for monuments and building. The original color of Taj Mahal was white because white marble was used, but because of acid rain in the city, the Taj Mahal has turned into a pale yellow color and it doesn't look as beautiful as white would have been. So this shows the harmful effect of acid rain. So let me recapitulate. I talked about definition of combustion, factors of combustion, ignition temperature. Then I talked about fire control, types of combustion. Then I talked about fuel and its efficiency, and what are the harms of burning of fuel. That's all for this lesson. Thank you.